I don't say it enough in my videos, but a big thank you to everyone who subscribed the past few weeks. I don't ask in videos as I think it's a bit cringe and it's very annoying for people who have already subbed to listen to. But I just want to say thank you to all 18.1% of you for subbing, liking, commenting. I really appreciate it. I'm not sure if 18.1% is very low, seems it, but quality over quantity any day of the week. Thank you very, very much. You'd be surprised how much a tap of a screen could mean to a person. I want to talk today about some differences and similarities between two Australian cases and two ones from the United States. I think most people on my channel know about Michael Vaughan and Cleo Smith, but maybe not many know about little Charlise Mutten, or at very least the details. I know my Australian friends will know all about this. It's only just after happening and details are still kind of coming out, so it's very, very fresh. Let me tell you about it. Charlize actually lived with her grandmother, her doting grandmother Deborah, in Coolangatta on the Gold Coast. She had spent Christmas and New Year's with her grandmother. She hasn't seen her mother in a long time, and when it came to January, Deborah agreed to let the 9-year-old visit her mother. Charlize was placed in the care of her grandparents back in 2017. Her mother was jailed for reckless driving causing death. She was unmet. She swerved off the road on a bridge and actually killed her friend who was in the passenger seat. She went to rehab for 7 months, relapse. She was actually expelled from a clinic in 2009 because she threatened another patient. But in 2017 she relinquished all rights and was jailed. Charlize went to live with her grandmother. I don't know much about Deborah other than she's a doting grandmother. She's an artist living in the Gold Coast, and she adored her, she devoted on her. Charlize was in a stable home, she was loved. She was a smiling, happy girl in school who loved butterflies. I'm not sure how much time she actually spent with her mother since her mother got out of jail in 2019. It could be nothing at all, because very quickly we had a sea situation, and one was living in New South Wales and one was in Queensland, so the borders there were actually closed. So this is why when it came in January, she didn't see her in so long, that Deborah allowed her daughter to see her and spend some time with her over the holidays. This is a photo that Deborah actually shared on January the 5th. Charlize leaning back, kissing her grandmother on the cheek. And 5 days after this photograph was taken, the mother actually confessed to a friend that she was struggling without her. She was struggling. Probably worried, a bit nervous, apprehensive. She knows her daughter's passed. And she was right to be, because 4 days after she said that, Charlize was reported missing. Charlize had actually gone with her mother, Calista, and her new boyfriend, Justin, to this sprawling estate, this millionaire estate, up in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales. There's a lot of celebrity couples I hear have their weddings there. It's stunning place. And this was run and owned by a rich family called the Steens, and that's who Justin was. Justin was one of those Steens. I think it was his brother maybe that owned this one. Justin and Calista were actually engaged. They met a month after she got out of jail. I think they were engaged around a month as well. And when Charlize was reported missing, that's where they said she was last seen. She was last seen, they said, initially on January 13th, out on the veranda of this estate. Justin had said that nobody had seen her since the previous day, the 13th, 16 to 18 hours before they actually reported her missing. And on the 13th, allegedly, her mother was in the hospital because she was pregnant from Justin. So at the time of the disappearance, Charlize was in Justin's care. And very, very quickly, when she was reported missing on January the 14th, a massive search kicked in. Ground, air, dogs, 100 plus people out looking in the bushlands. They sent out geo-targeted text messages to people in the area to let them know that a girl was missing and to call if they had any info. What that means is basically anyone in an area that they target will get this text message regardless of your phone provider or anything like that. It will just push through to your phone based off location. Same way Amber Alerts work. And one neighbour actually came forward to say at 4:30 on that morning, on the Friday morning, they seen a car leave the Steens estate with the lights off. So pulling out the estate with the lights off, obviously that's going to grab attention. If they left them on, she probably wouldn't have even noticed. I'm not sure about this car in general because it doesn't really seem to add up with what we know now actually happened. So maybe similarities there between the car that Jodie Sue seen. Did the neighbour actually see this car? I think they did, and I think it might probably form down the line some part of the defence team's explanation. But what it did do at the time is the police honed in on Justin. They couldn't talk to the mother because before they could even interview her, she had a mental break and was taken to the hospital. They couldn't talk to her for a week. So when they took Justin in that night, he actually gave 2 conflicting stories about the timeline. And they also took his car. They didn't come out and say he was a suspect or anything like that. They just said he was assisting them with their inquiries. On January the 15th, the homicide came in and took over and declared the house and the area a crime scene. They were very clear on coming out and saying just because they're involved doesn't mean that they think foul play is involved. There's nothing to indicate a crime at the moment, but they're still going to go full hog on the forensics and stuff like that. Dive teams were called in to search lakes, dams, rivers. On Sunday the 16th, they found a small barefooted print on a walking trail. Again, very similar to Summer Wells, finding bare child's footprints. So they sealed this whole area off and searched it inch by inch. They also on this day took Justin's boat from him. And they came out again saying they had a 31-year-old man assisting them with inquiries who we all know was Justin. On January the 17th, police said they had grave concerns. They said the weather was good so she could survive, but she more than likely is stationary now. So she might be lying down, sleeping, if she had wandered off. There was still a massive search ongoing. On January the 18th, there was really bad weather. Some of the search party got to sea, but there was still, everyone they could was still out searching. The search was still going on. And at the end of that day, late afternoon, they found human remains in a barrel on the Colo River. The barrel was full of sand and little Charlize's body was there. They tracked Justin via GPS to a dodgy looking apartment block in Sydney, and he was arrested that night as well straight away. Declined to be interviewed, wouldn't open his mouth. He appeared in court on the 19th, no bail, but asked for his meds, and they said he was in fear for his safety, which he's right to be because these people don't do well in any type of prisons, especially over in Australia. We learnt that day as well about his own offences. He got 6.5 years back in 2017 for having a load of drugs. Was released on parole in only November 2020, and 1 month after that he was engaged to Calista. So what happened? We already have a pretty clear picture of what happened. We know she was shot in the head. We don't know the motive or anything like that yet. Justin, on his first day when he gave the 2 different timelines, they were immediately honed in on him, focused in. And especially when the homicide team came on, the search was still going on. They were searching lakes, but in the background the homicide team was doing a lot of digging, a lot of looking into Justin and literally tracing his steps step by step. And they found that in the days leading up to the disappearance he was completely lying. They tracked his GPS of the car. I'm not sure whether it was the car or the phone, maybe both. This is different now to the phone pinging. This is GPS, so this is exactly the location. They found that Justin went to his local hardware store and bought 5 20-kilogram bags of sand. He then drove across the road, filled up with fuel, caught on camera in both places. It looks like Charlize was killed either on late January the 11th or early January 12th. The mother left for the hospital on Tuesday 11th, and they believe she was killed within a few hours. So after Justin gets his sand, fills up his car with fuel, he's next spotted taking his boat all the way down to Sydney Dock. Now, it's not Sydney Harbour. I've seen a few Aussies giving out that people from outside the country think that he was trying to come out of Sydney Harbour. It's actually north of Sydney Harbour, I believe. So he's coming out of the bush area, really, where he probably could have placed in the body anywhere. Well, not anywhere, but you have a good chance of getting, you have a much better chance of getting rid up there than if you do if you're driving in towards the city. So he drives around for about 5 hours, towing his boat, and he had a barrel in the back. You can see this on the CCTV. That's where little Charlize's body was, and he was trying to get rid of the body. He went to the 5 dock boat ramp, which is about 40 minutes away. He couldn't get the boat to launch there. I don't know whether it was the conditions or whether, I also read that the boat was a bit of a dud. It wasn't working at the time. This is where it gets a small bit tricky, because we know when he couldn't get the boat out, he actually called the mother. What those conversations were about, I don't know. So then he gets up and he treks about another hour to a different boat ramp, and I think he got spooked here. He drove down to the boat ramp and a lot of lights came on. He seen the CCTV and stuff like that, so I don't even think he tried to get the boat in here. But all while he's doing this, he's being picked up on CCTV everywhere. I play the CCTV there. This is the BP service station in Marsden Park at 5:53 p.m. on Thursday the 13th. So you can see his red truck there in the back, and he's towing this heavy boat as well. So he had to stop a few times to refuel. He's driving all the way down from the mountains into Sydney, all the way back up again. And you can see there a blue barrel covered by a little tarp in the back of the truck. There's a few gaps in the timeline. That's why they're releasing this video and trying to get more. So 17 p.m. on Thursday the 13th. This is him just driving through Sydney with his boat, and you can see the blue tarp in the back again. And obviously people in Sydney and Australia as a whole are completely shocked by this. That just goes to show you don't know what's going on next year. How many people seen him that day, seen that boat that day, and had no idea what he was doing. And then the last one is the 5 dock boat ramp. This is at 7:20 on Thursday. This was actually someone living in the area that look, me picking her up. Him going past. So after he failed to get off into the second boat ramp, he drives another 25 kilometres north to the Coro River, which was slightly flooded at the time, I think. He drives down around, tries to get in close to the river, but there was big concrete kind of pillars stopping him from driving in. Drives up a little bit, and he decides that he'll try and carry the barrel down instead. But it's far too heavy with all the sand that he is inside it. He actually loses control over the barrel, it looks like, and it kind of floats down the river and gets stuck on the bank. There were several calls made between Justin and Charlize's mother during this trip as he was trying to get rid of the barrel. Again, they're saying she's just a witness at the moment, and I don't think she was there at the time, but she's very hard to approach and under medical supervision. We have no idea what the motive is here. They were literally just on holidays. But all of this was put together very, very fast by the police, except for the motive. We've no idea what the motive is yet. He was also actually caught on CCTV after the Colo River without the barrel in the back, so he's done. He has had one friend come out saying that he doesn't believe at all that he could ever do something like this, but he's clearly getting rid of the body. We can see him in the CCTV getting rid of the body, all that stuff. And they're pulling back now on the car that the neighbour seen come out. If the neighbour seen that, it doesn't quite fit with his timeline of coming out of the estate that time. He would have been coming back at that time. Maybe the neighbour was confused, we don't know. But again, very similar to the Summer Wells case. Neighbour seen truck, didn't she see a truck? And also the child's footprints that was found up the mountains, like they weren't hers at all. They couldn't have been hers, it's impossible. But yet everyone got a small bit excited when they seen this, kicked off kind of big searches into the area. So I'd be very interested to know in the Summer case whether they actually picked up the scent off these footprints as well. I think they did, maybe off one or two, but I'm not too sure at all. But what's the difference here? What's going on? Why can Australia find their missing kids and the United States can't? The FBI are meant to be the best in the world at this stuff, and I know they went consulting, they went over with Cleo Smith's case with the playbook of how to solve these cases, but I think they're the ones that actually left with the playbook. GPS was a huge factor in the Australians solving these two cases. We don't really know the details exactly of what they did yet with the Cleo case, but I do think there's lessons there that if applied to the likes of Summer Wells and Michael Vaughan, they might be able to get some answers. I'll talk about that tomorrow because I want to give that a bit of time. And I think Don has actually given us a small bit of information that suggests that maybe they have. I want to keep this video mainly about Charlize and her poor grandmother. Thoughts have to go to her. I say she's heartbroken. And her grandfather, biological father, just her school friends. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for the poor little girl. The motive here is a complete puzzle at the moment. Why she was shot in the head like this, nobody has a clue yet. But like it's still, this is only 2 weeks tomorrow that she was reported missing, and look at the details, look at the stuff we know. We have a mostly clear picture of what happened, and most importantly, they found her, they have her body. The Australians are really, really impressive with these cases. The fact that even little Cleo can be found alive after 18 days is mind-boggling. That stuff doesn't happen. Thanks again to everyone for subbing for the last few weeks, and very special thanks to my two new Patreons, Samantha McDowell and Bet, and her two beautiful dogs, Cece and Henry. Thanks so much for signing up for Patreon and the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. That's it. Thanks everyone. Good luck. God bless. Have a good day.